Welcome everyone to a new episode of the Platform Podcast. It's been a while since we've done a podcast. There's lots been happening, hasn't it, Will?
Heaps been happening.
It's been absolutely crazy. And I had to actually write some notes here on my laptop of things that we're going to talk about because knowing me and you,
We'll just go on a tangent.
we'll start going on a tangent and waffle for like half an hour. But there's a lot of exciting things that have happened and we wanted to share it with you guys so you know exactly what's been going on behind the scenes with Platform Sports. First thing, you were in Australia last week.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
I mean, I just got back from Perth on Monday morning. Actually, came and saw you for a coffee just straight off the plane. But yeah, no, it was great. We took 20 under-18 New Zealand lacrosse kids over to compete in the Aussie State Nationals. We did great. I mean, you know, from a coaching perspective, the boys developed every game. They developed every game, and that's all I could ask. And then we went from losing to South Australia 13-3, I think, to taking them to nearly to overtime and only losing by 1 point. So that's, you know, from a coach, that's all I can ask is that the boys get better every time. And, you know, from a work perspective, it was great to meet a lot of the Aussie boys and girls that, you know, want to pursue the States and talking to a lot of the coaches because, you know, I guess it's a bit of an untapped area over there as the Aussies going to the States because they're so good at lacrosse. I'll tell you.
You said to them that some of them were just a bit, you know, oblivious to the whole college thing.
Yeah. Well, that and, you know, what they get is they'll have a coach message them. They've been watching the game, you know, a coach from some college in the middle of nowhere saying, hey, look, come to my college. And then they're all like, hooray, you know, I've been scouted from a coach. And they just don't understand that they're that good that they can explore other options.
Yeah.
So that was a big one that I wanted to touch on is, you know, not taking what falls in front of your face and actually exploring other avenues and other options because some of those kids are, you know, absolutely wicked and can do some real cool things.
I mean, I'm going to be a bit biased here. Our kids did pretty well over there, didn't they? Scott Cathcart.
Scotty made the tournament team. Scott Cathcart. Shout out to Scott Murdoch as well. Another one of our boys. He played great. Didn't score any goals, unfortunately, but we still got some pretty good film.
Oh, Scott scored a screamer though, right? Yeah, you sent me the reel. Was it Vic Lacrosse were posting a lot of reels, right?
Yeah, Australia Lacrosse.
Oh, was it Australia Lacrosse?
Shout out to Sammy as well because he did a bit of a media day with our boys.
Who's Sammy?
He's one of the guys that works on the Aussie Lacrosse Network.
Okay. Yeah.
And he tested out and pulled our boys away for a bit of a media day like college.
Yeah,
and
cool.
It was cool for them to experience it because, you know, I guess that's one of the things that is special about the college, you know, how they do their media days and take all the photos and have all the professional lighting and everything. It's something that, you know, I guess in New Zealand we don't really get to experience as an athlete.
And I guess what would be a cool thing for you is like, obviously you've been working now as a manager within the last year, you know, within the last 12 months. And you've worked really hard to get Scott Cathcart a great deal. He's going to college this August, and he goes to he goes to Perth with you, and he balls out and has a great lacrosse tournament. And you're measuring his skill set with other athletes, and you're like, man, these athletes are bang on par. And then you're saying to me that you're going up to these athletes, and they didn't think they were good enough to go to the States. That completely blew my mind.
Yeah, well, it is, and that's it. It's just because of, I guess, you know, that's our biggest problem being from this side of the world is that exposure. Yeah, you know, we're not playing in front of American coaches that can recruit you straight off the blue like, you know, they do over in the States. Yeah. So, you know, the fact that they, you know, Scotty, for example, got to go over and compete against, you know, the best that our region, our side of the world has to offer and you know, held his own, it shows. And these other kids, they just need that little push that, hey, I actually can do this. And, you know, it's not some, you know, dream. They can actually turn it into reality. And
that's the reason why I didn't go to the States, because I just didn't think I was good enough. I honestly couldn't see a way forward with my college tennis. And that's the thing. And then it's I mean, maybe it's on us, bro, like that we have to be educating these athletes a lot more, don't you think?
Well, yeah, you know, and it's that we need to obviously educate them more on the different avenues and the different pathways that it takes. You know, like you could still be learning the sport, you know, you could just be a natural at it and, you know, just getting a step in and through junior college, for example, which is a big thing we've seen this year. Yeah. Is that real pickup in athletes going to junior college, you know, honing their skills, getting exposure, which is the biggest one, you know, and playing in front of Americans with Americans. And that's how they're going to reach those higher targets.
Do you reckon some of those lacrosse athletes realize that they could go to a Division 1 school where they can travel on a private plane?
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, that's a dream, isn't it?
Do you reckon that? Because I was watching Dave Portnoy, who was the founder of Barstool Sports in America, and he posted an Instagram story. And as he was getting off his private jet, the Syracuse lacrosse team were going the other way onto another one. And I was like, what?
It's so untapped, and it's so, Aussie lacrosse is great. They're, 5th in the world, I think they are at the moment. And it's, they've got the players, they've got the caliber of players. So it's just, really helping them get over there is going to be, it's really exciting for me personally as a lacrosse coach and player, as well as a, sports, recruitment agent.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I guess what's quite exciting is I had a good 3 weeks in Aussie. I had a great time. I mean, I felt like I was broke because I was staying with my sister and I was buying every meal under there. And I know my sister's going to be watching this and she knows I'm right. But it was such a great experience, man. I spent like 10 days in Melbourne and it honestly felt like a lifetime. I was there for so long. And then I went to Queensland. I was in Brisbane for a bit and then the Gold Coast and then back to Melbourne again for another week. And it was just incredible on not so much like the athletes wanting to go to college, but how poorly some of the agencies are operating. Yeah. That's what I learned.
Yeah. And I mean, dare I say it, illegally as well.
Yeah. Like, for example, like a recruitment agency cannot charge a fee on the contingent of their athlete getting a deal. So they can't promise and guarantee scholarships, which is why we spend a lot of our own unpaid time to do these free consultations where we evaluate the level and we tell them what kind of deal that they can get. And then if they want to come on board with us, they can. And if not, they don't have to. And there's no cost for that part. And because, our number one thing is transparency, being authentic and just being honest.
Just being black and white.
Yeah, 100%, man. And so when I was there, I was meeting a lot of these head of sports for different academies and local coaches as well. And I was explaining what we do in our processes. And they sort of asked us like how much we charge. And once I told them that, they were scratching their head saying, how are you charging so little for the amount of work that you do? And I said, is this not what agencies do here? And they said, no. Like they communicate with athletes over email. That's how they go back and forward with people, where we've got a WhatsApp chat that just pops off.
Yeah. And not only that, we've also been working on this new dashboard, which we've been setting up this week, which is going to be, pretty wicked once we get it, fully fine-tuned and up and running. It's a home base, you could call it.
Yeah, I mean that's a big part of it, because in the last 10 months, platform sports has grown significantly. We've got new sports on the horizon that we'll discuss real shortly. And our most important thing is providing a really good service for clients. We don't want to spread ourselves too thin where our time to athletes are diluted. We want to make sure we're on the pulse with everything, right? And so this new dashboard that we've built, that we've spent hours building, is definitely, as you said, a game changer, because it allows athletes, it's got trackers on when CVs are sent out, when their meetings are with college coaches, when their next assignment's coming up.
Yeah, and links all their folders, they can upload all their transcripts, it's got everything in it. And it's, just from the feedback I've gotten this week from setting athletes up on it, they're excited to use it because they can use it as they want,
How many meetings have you done this week, Will? A couple?
Heaps.
Yeah, you've done a fair few, especially after hours as well.
Enough that I'm going to be asking for overtime, Amrit.
Yeah. It's Friday right now.
Yeah.
You're working tomorrow morning, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, we just got to get it done, It's if because this will be able to, we set this up so that we can spend less time, I guess, chasing up things, and we can spend more time actually networking and getting these deals for these athletes.
Yeah, right.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, but look, I talked to these Australian contacts about this dashboard, and they were really excited about it. There was high schools there. We presented at Setter High School, which was amazing. John Trickey in Melbourne is a professional tennis coach. He's worked for TA, Tennis Australia, for a number of years. He got me into his school. I presented to a bunch of athletes. And what was really cool is that on our Instagram, because we never DM athletes on Instagram, right? But the amount of feedback I got from 13, 14-year-olds on Instagram saying, it was great to meet you. Like, thank you so much for coming in. Can you send us the presentation that you did? It was awesome to see these youngsters really showing interest in the college system.
Yeah, and I think it's also, now that I guess COVID's dying out and, it's starting to open back up and everyone's starting to get a bit more kind of, I can go exploring and I can take, risks.
Yeah.
Like everyone kind of got a lot more sheltered after COVID. So now everyone's starting to take a few more risks, and it's super exciting just to see, like I said, the amount of people that are just trying to explore it, they might not take that step, but just exploring it, and that's that's the best thing we could ask for.
Yeah, 100%. Let's talk a little bit about how placements is going, because, I mean, as your role as a recruitment manager, you work directly with our head of sports, our placement agents, and make sure that our athletes are getting placed in the appropriate colleges. How do you think placement's going?
It's going wicked. We've nearly wrapped up all of our fall 2023 athletes, all the ones that are looking to head over in August.
We're even looking at closing out a few of the 2024s.
Exactly. It's just, it's been great, and our agents have been great. Keeping up with Simon, he's been wicked. Sorting out all the soccer boys. He's had a lot of work to do, and he's really done it. And Tash and Drew and Philip, we've all been working hard, and it's going great. And we've seen some kids sign to some real cool colleges.
It's actually really cool to see as well our athletes taking the advice that we're giving them on board. For example, not just looking at Division 1 and Division 2, but looking at all sporting associations like NAIA and JUCO.
Yeah, well, that's just it. Like what we said at the start, it's, there's so many different pathways.
Yeah,
so many different pathways you can take, and it's, not about settling for what falls in front of your face. It's all about exploring and kind of, looking at, the best outcome at the end of those 4 years, not just looking at what's going to be the best from the start.
You got to have a 4-year plan, because like I go on our Instagram all the time, I talk about it constantly. The college system is so congested. It's a bottleneck with athletes given that extra year eligibility. And unless you're have built a really good sports resume, maybe represented your country or got really high grades, and a blend of both, it can be really challenging to go and secure a Division 1 opportunity in the States. And so you kind of have to look at it as a 4-year plan. And our athletes are doing that. Like, we had a girl that decided, I don't want to go to a Division 2 school. She had an offer for a Division 2 program and went to a junior college because she thought that would springboard her further to a high-ranked college so she can close out her degree.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess it all comes down to the biggest things like film, exposure, kind of, your resume, your kind of your CV, sports CV as we like to call it. So it's where are you going to get the best opportunities, and playing for 1 or 2 years in a junior college where you're competing against other athletes that are in the same boat as you, that might not have the greatest CV yet, but they're super talented players, but they just need that extra nudge, and that's what JUCO's providing.
100%. It's like an ID camp, but you're not pausing your academics. Your academics are proceeding forward, and your development's proceeding forward, and you're getting the chance to be scouted by top-end programs. I mean, look at Sefa that works with us on the water polo side. I mean, Sefa did 1 year of junior college and then did 3 years at Cal Berkeley. His degree says Cal Berkeley. And Ryo Minakata, our Japanese tennis player, 2 years at Tyler Junior College. Now he's about to finish his year at Boise State, and with a fantastic business degree from a Division 1 college. There's so many ways you can look at this.
Yeah, and that's just that, just not limiting yourself, basically.
I think that the most challenging things, or let's put it this way, an athlete can make it really hard for themselves if they look at the college system in a one-dimensional way. So if you're like, I only want to go to this particular area and these particular schools, that's great to have that. But while you're focusing on trying to get that, which may not happen, you're missing out on so many other opportunities because those other coaches out there are signing other athletes. And then what's going to happen is those athletes are going to proceed forward in their recruitment process. And then when push comes to shove and they need to get a deal, they're still back at square one trying to find a place, right?
Yeah, and you're dead right. You're dead right. That's exactly how it goes, and that's what we're seeing. So, and we're seeing the athletes that are really trying to explore, what the college system has to offer.
Yeah,
and all the different ones. They're getting a lot more kind of opportunities and a lot more success in those respects, I guess.
And I think that athletes also need to look like, yes, I want to stay there for 4 years, but that's not guaranteed because the coach might have other plans. The amount of phone calls I had, like I spoke to a coach yesterday, I won't name him, but it was a soccer coach. He's a good friend of mine. He's actually looking at coming out to New Zealand sometime soon.
Fun.
And I said to him, how did the season go? And he said, oh man, I got rid of about 8 lads and our soccer team just wasn't the right fit. And he also took a full scholarship off an athlete because the athlete didn't play many games throughout the season. Wasn't good enough, just didn't show up. And so things can change, right? And you want to be in a college where your return on investment is at an all-time high. So your return on investment is the time that you spent at that university. What are you getting out of it? So if you are spending a lot of money to be at a college program and you're not getting a chance to play and you're riding the bench and the coach has got no intention of playing you in second year, that's a bad ROI. But if you go to a college where you're playing, you're being competitive, and you're doing really well, and you're also getting a scholarship to fund it, you can use that to then go again. Like your value as an athlete needs to go again. And I guess it's that analogy that I always use about, the housing analogy that I provide. A lot of athletes want the best house on the best street, right? But sometimes that ain't going to happen. So what athletes need to do is try to find a house that they can renovate so they can grow that value over time and then revalue, then go again in the following year. And a lot of our athletes are doing that and they're winning from it, which is great.
Yeah. And I mean, 100%. I reckon one thing that we need to talk about is our plans with the showcases this year.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've been looking at doing we've got a lot of different projects in the pipeline that we probably won't discuss, but one of the ones is running a soccer showcase. I'm excited about that. It was actually Simon that phoned us and said we should do it. And I think it makes sense. I mean, we've got the Women's World Cup in New Zealand, which has been fantastic.
A lot of hype around soccer at the moment.
Oh, it's massive. And the amount of coaches that have messaged me, I don't even know why I didn't think about this. So many coaches have messaged me saying, where should they stay? Like accommodation in Wellington and Auckland. And I was like, here's some places that you should stay at. I've even got one college coach that actually wants to stay here with me.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, man, just come on over. But I think a showcase is definitely something that we should look at doing. It's in the pipeline right now, but it makes sense, right?
It does.
Coaches are here, athletes are here, get them to play in front of them. Why not? So we'll release some dates around that. We've already put the wheels in motion in that, which has been pretty cool. I'm absolutely fizzing for the new sport that we're working with, American football.
Yeah, shout out Finn. He just hit us up, didn't he, out of the blue?
Yeah, so how that came about was Finn Rudd, great guy, DM'd us on Instagram and said, I love what you guys are doing. I would love to have a conversation. I gave him your number. He phoned you. You chatted with him first. And when I was in Christchurch for work, that's where Finn lives. You said you should go and have a coffee with him. So I did.
Oh, great guy.
He's a fantastic human being, mate. And I think
he's got the same passion as us, just helping these athletes out.
Yeah, but his story is incredible. Like he played soccer. That's how we know Simon, our head of soccer. He knew Simon back in the day, and then he just started kicking a ball around and then put it on Twitter, and he got all these offers to go play in the States as a punter, and did really well as a kicker in the US, and then ended up going to UC Davis, Division 1 program.
Great school.
And now he's back in New Zealand, and we're now working with him, but we've also got Lance Loyata working with us, and both those guys, the news channels have covered their stories, they're very well known. And Lance and Finn are working together in this college football academy here in New Zealand, and now we're working with both of them. And Lance is currently in Europe playing professionally. Yeah, which is incredible. So I'm stoked to be working with those guys.
Well, I'm stoked to be expanding our sports. We're not the kind of guys to sit and kind of limit ourselves. You know. So and the fact that we've now got these guys that are so passionate about football and want to see as many Kiwis, Aussies, any country really. I mean, I spoke to someone from Germany the other day, and I think you spoke to someone from Russia. Very much just the football space as well is just growing, and we're gonna be a part of it, which is gonna be awesome.
We had 80 people inquire about wanting to go through us to the States for American football. That was very overwhelming.
Yeah, took us by surprise.
Stefan sitting in the corner there as our producer Stefan, and I feel sorry for him because he was the one going through all the leads, figuring out the time zone that they were in, etc. But he did a great job with it, which has been cool. We've also got some new partnerships. So Autocado is a big one that I want to talk about. So Alan Walker approached us. Now, Alan Walker was the technical director for Ferrymead Bays, which is a great soccer club located in Christchurch. And Autocado is 8 clubs merging into one performance centre. And he said, look, I love the way that you've been working in the Christchurch space. I'd love to give you the opportunity to work with us. So it's like the elite athletes from 8 different clubs coming together, and it's been really great. We did a presentation at the Linfield Rugby Club, which I believe is where the Frank brothers played in Christchurch. Richie Mwanga, All Black, he's from there as well, and that's the base that the All Blacks train at before they go and play at the stadium in Christchurch. So
nice spot.
Great spot. They were very hospitable there, which was fantastic. And I did a presentation, and that's where another like year 9 student came up to me at the end, and he goes to me, "Excuse me, sir, like, do you know what level I have to be at in order to go to the States? Because I want to go be a professional one day." And I just gave him a bunch of YouTube links to go and watch some soccer games in the NCAA for Division 1. I said, just watch this and make sure you align yourself closely to that. It was so cool to see.
Yeah, that is cool. And, I remember when I was year 9, I hadn't, wasn't even a thought that have crossed my mind, potentially taking my sport overseas. And it's just growing so astronomically. Yeah. All these athletes going over, and it's great to see. It is great to see.
It is. And it's like, what we're doing is, like, when I met you last year, was it October last year I met you?
Then,
yeah. Probably
before
I think it was September.
Korea,
September. And you and I were just getting to know each other then, and you said to me, like, what is your goal for platform? And I said, I want to provide the most resources than any other recruitment agency in the South Pacific. I want to be the go-to company where people look at for information. That's why we post so many reels and like information about the college system, right?
Yeah.
And these athletes are learning about this at such a young age, so now they can prepare. You did a consult with a guy, and his son is a 12-year-old golfer. Like, it's great to see so many youngsters interested.
Hopefully.
He will be?
Yeah, hopefully.
Another Zach Swanwick?
Yeah, another Zach. Yeah, shout out Zach. How well was he done?
Yeah, Aussie Junior Amateur Champion. Oh, mate, I was fizzy when that happened.
We were a couple of my flatmates actually we were talking about it, and I was like,
really?
Funnily enough, he's a platform athlete.
Yeah, 100% he is. We've got the best, mate. We got the best.
So Zach's got a couple, mid-20s fangirling over him, so there you go.
There you go. Couple of 20-year-old lads, eh? There's crack up. I have actually got a series of videos that I need to give to Stefan to clip up, and it's when I was playing around a golf with Zach at the Napier Golf Club. And honestly, I was just in awe watching this guy hit a golf ball. It was just absolutely crazy. And he had like practiced the whole day, trained the whole day, and he saw me walking into the car park with our former soccer recruiter, Dylan. And he just said, "Oh, you going out for 9 holes?" I said, "Yeah, man," thinking he just finished the day. He would, last thing he'd want to do is be at the golf course. He goes, "Oh, I can't play 9 with you." And I was like, "All right, let's go." And
makes you feel awful, eh?
And then Dylan walks up to me and he goes, "Why did you say that?" He's just going to watch me shank every drive that I hit now. And I've actually got Dylan's drives on my phone. So we're going to be getting that. Sorry, Dylan, in advance. I apologize. But we've got to get that content out there for everyone to see. But Zach's just a fantastic guy. And you know what? When I was walking around with Zach on that 9 holes, I said, "So are you working here as well?" He said, "Yeah, I'm working for my coach, and I am coaching young juniors." And I said, "Oh, like, cool, like, you're getting good money." He said, "I'm actually just getting, free range balls to go and practice." And I was like, "Oh, true. So you're doing this just to like provide equipment for yourself?" And he goes, "Yeah, just want to go out there and practice as much as I can."
Yeah.
Which is incredible. So yeah, he's doing very, very well. So overall, Will, I mean, you're a big driver also with Stefan for the content. How do you think the content is going?
Good. I mean, we're getting it out there. That's the main thing. We've really ramping up our website as well, making sure that that's up and going. Because I don't know, I guess we're focused so heavily on the social media side of things that not a lot of people have social media.
True.
So it's about getting our website going up. I mean, I was talking to a mum, and they were asking about our website, and we hadn't put an article up since late last year. So we're starting to get them ramped up now, which is great.
Yeah, I'm smiling now because I'm looking at Stefan.
And
Stefan's been in the lab for the last 14 days punching articles. That's been good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got some great articles on our website that you guys should definitely check out if you got time for it. There's ones on like American football dropping, basketball, tennis, soccer. We're going through scholarship breakdowns, how it's all allocated, how money's being made. So there's a lot more information on our website, which is platformsportsmanagement.com. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, just content in general, we're going to push real heavy on our podcast, getting that going again.
Well, we've got athletes coming back.
We do. We have a lot of athletes coming back. So obviously the college semester ends around the start of May. So a lot of them will be coming home, and we'll be able to get them on board and chat to them about how their year's been. We'll have seniors, we'll have freshmen. Yeah,
well, I was talking to my boy V, great volleyballer. He's just an absolute great human being. And I had a coffee with him this morning, and he's going to college for the first time this August. And at the college that he's going to, we didn't place this guy, but there's a senior on the team that's also from New Zealand. So I said to him, when's that guy coming back? His name's Ryan. And he said, V told me Ryan's coming back at the end of May. So I said, well, we'll get you in. We'll do a podcast for someone that's about to go to that college and someone that's about to graduate from that college.
Yeah.
That could be quite cool.
It will be cool. And I mean, just that's funny you say it. It reminded me when we were in Aussie in Perth.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the tournament, there was a big celebration and I was sitting having a beer with this older fella and I was talking to him and I was kind of like, so I've worked with Scotty. He's going to Chuan University. And then he goes, oh, no way, my son goes to Chuan University.
No way.
Yeah, so I mean, he's currently a junior at Chuan, finishing his junior year.
Yeah.
And, just that mutual connection there, I hadn't thought about that when I'd, networked Chuan with Scotty. And then here we are talking to one of the juniors' dads and, we're sending selfies, to his son over there. And,
That's so
Scotty's
cool.
now talking to his son.
Awesome.
So, building connections like that is awesome. And that's what I guess we're trying to do is build connections.
I mean, the college system is quite small, especially in our space, Will, because we're connected with so many different coaches through different sporting codes at the same universities as well. And it's crazy. And what's really good is that we rely on those networks also, not just to find the good colleges for our athletes, but also the coaches to stay away from. And I can tell you already, I've had about...
few.
Yep, there's a few. And I've spoken to 4 coaches in the last 8 days and from different universities, and they've advised me not to place an athlete at their university for that particular sport because coach is interviewing with other universities about to leave, and also sometimes the behaviour of that coach at that school as well.
Well, there are some coaches that are in it for themselves. Just being a coach myself and kind of understanding, how it works. So I could very much, demand heaps for coaching the under 18s, and I could say I want to get paid, I want all this kind of jazz, but that's not. The reason why you coach, the coaching, the passion should, start with the kids or whoever you're coaching and wanting to see them succeed. So, those are the coaches you want to stay away from.
I got to ask you a question, Will, to wrap this podcast up. I'm 6'2". I do bench press now and then. I'm Punjabi, right? So we're built strong, built like a tank engine. Any chance of me being a prime lacrosse athlete?
Anyone can. I can teach anyone to catch and throw. What I can't teach is that dog mentality that you need to be a lacrosse player.
Oh, I can tell you that I am an absolute dog on the sports field, mate.
Or chuck a helmet on, you feel invincible, and then you end up like me and running into some brick wall and getting a concussion.
Oh, you did get knocked out, eh? Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah,
that's
so
bad.
absolutely. I mean, anyone can play lacrosse. It's one of those games where it's just catching and passing like a normal game, but you just have a stick and you can hit people with it, which is even more fun.
What about Stefan over there? He weighs about 68 kilos, Serbian. He's got... does he have guns? Oh, he's got guns over there. Yeah, he looks
like I said, anyone can do it. Doesn't necessarily mean you'll be great at it, but you could do it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, look, it's good to get on the podcast again. It's been a minute since we've done one. We've got a lot of exciting things coming in the pipeline. We've got some new services as well that we won't be announcing just yet, that we're going to be releasing very soon. I'm off to Australia next week for 3 days and got some exciting news potentially coming from that. And I'm just really pumped to get all of our athletes back from the US, get them on the podcast, talk about the experiences, not just the highs, the lows as well. So athletes know exactly what's going on. But for the ones that are going to college this August, this is the time to get in the gym.
Start grinding.
That's what I'm
telling all of them, I was sitting there talking to Scott. I said, look, all you should be focused on between now and August is lacrosse.
Yep.
Yeah. He's done the school. He's done the hard, the admin. Now it's just focus on, stepping over and getting there and being on the right foot.
Being fit and injury prevention, and make sure your nutrition is good.
Because I guess in saying that, all the Americans that are going in as well, they're going to be on summer break. They'll be enjoying themselves, having a good time, but we're going to be stuck in winter
in the lab.
Yeah, it's grind time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%. Cool. Till next time. Thanks for listening to the Platform Podcast, and we'll see you on the next episode.
See ya.
Awesome. That was good.